Good morning, everyone. It is Thursday, January 5th, 2017, and this is your fun fact of the day. For this semester's Thursdays, we're going to be throwing it back, as is a common trend among people nowadays, but not in the sense of we're just going to look at some point in history, per se. We're going to look at some things that are a little bit older or a little bit younger than what you actually think they are. For instance, last semester we covered how old submarines actually are, and they're actually over 400 years old. That was actually a bit of a surprise to me as well, and this semester we're going to be looking at 13 more of these. These things are actually this old, compared to what you may have previously thought. Today we're looking at the White House. Our current White House has been nearly burned down, gutted out, added onto, suffered major damages and reconstruction many times over. George Washington himself selected the site for our current White House in 1791. It's still on the same site that was originally picked. In 1792, the next year, the cornerstone was laid, but it wouldn't be completed until 8 years later. So George Washington was the only president who never stayed in there. John Adams and Abigail Adams were the first president and first lady to actually live in the White House. It was heavily burned by British troops in 1814 from the War of 1812, but it didn't fully burn down. There was actually a heavy rainstorm that saved a lot of it, so it hasn't been fully burned to the ground yet. It was rebuilt for President Monroe in 1817, and during his administration, the South Portico was added in 1824. Andrew Jackson saw the addition of the North Portico in 1829, just a few years later. President Theodore Roosevelt began a major reconstruction of the White House, and he was president around the turn of the century, 1900s. His reconstruction included a relocating of the president's office to the second floor, to the newly constructed executive office branch, now known as the West Wing. Roosevelt's successor, President Taft, had the Oval Office constructed within an enlarged office wing, so that got moved again. But less than 50 years after Theodore Roosevelt's renovation in the late 1940s, early 1950s, reconstruction was badly needed again, and President Truman, who was living there at the time, ordered it to happen. He began a reconstruction in which everything except the outside walls were dismantled. Now, I have no idea how this is actually physically possible without a lot of work and delicate effort by a lot of people, removing everything from the inside of a building except its outside walls. It's about as structurally unsound as you can get. But it was completed successfully, and the Truman family moved back into the White House in 1952, and it is the White House that we know of today. So, as far as the White House, the home for the President of the United States, as far as its spirit and its building site are concerned, it is 220 years old. As far as the White House that we know of today, with its porticos and West Wing and all the columns out front, 64 years. That's it. It's a pretty young building. So I hope you enjoyed that Throwback Thursday. Today is also National Bird Day and National Whipped Cream Day. So if you enjoy such a topping, go ahead and enjoy some, as you're hopefully looking at a bird. Maybe not. Still winter up here in the Midwest, so not really seeing very many birds who left for the winter. There's a few still hanging around, the hardy ones, but nothing like a robin yet. Gotta wait a couple months. Hope you've enjoyed this fun fact of the day. See you tomorrow.